It's only in this little window. Please listen. You know, sometimes people have trauma to the head. Yes? Now, what I mean by that is you can get hit with a football, you can slip on a stairway, you can bump your head in the shower. It doesn't always translate into a serious wound or a serious illness, yes? But they're telling me someone either had a fracture of a skull. Did someone have trauma to the head? Okay, stay with me. Now, trauma, as I just shared, first of all, how are you guys connected? Oh, I'm just asking. If you're just friends, you may not know each other's families that well. But if you're coming out of the family unit and your cousins grow up together, trauma to the head can result from impact, right? I'm not talking about an aneurysm bleed. I'm not talking about someone who had cancer in the brain. I'm talking about, and it feels like someone smashed them in the head or they struck into something very strong that either fractured their skull or formed a bleeding. Why do they keep taking, why is there an apology coming in about this? Yes, yeah, I'll do it again. Are you guys sure that someone did not cross over from trauma to the head?
I don't know anyone who had trauma. As far as,
Wait.
I know somebody who may, I don't know many details about his death, but I know it was a sudden death.
Well, sudden death could be a heart attack.
Right.
I'm going to come back. I don't mean to interrupt you. Come back to me again. This is right. Was there someone in your family that suffered either a trauma to the skull or had impact to the head? Are you sure someone didn't have a massive bleed or a massive trauma to the head?
Well, the tumor in her father's, my cousin's head, looked like a ball bearing.
Okay, don't tell me anything else. What's your name?
Lauren.
Okay, with respect, try not to give me that much detailing. Okay. But let me do this again.
It just
now,
felt like that to him.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you.
Okay.
I try to be respectful because once you start giving me stuff, it becomes an interview. Okay. I won't allow for it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, okay? But if you're telling me that you can have a tumor in your kidney, you can have a tumor in your colon, you can have a tumor in your breast. There's a lot of places to have a tumor, right? Unfortunately, they show up all over the place. Some tumors are benign. You have it on the back of your knee, they take it off, they excise it, and it's gone. It just doesn't look nice. And then there are tumors that have malignancies, which have to be dealt with on a whole nother level. Agreed? Okay. But there's a reference to someone that's going to their head specifically. And they're making me feel it was either impact or something like you're describing. Either it was actually verbalized and said, this looks like a gunshot wound to the skull or a pellet in the brain. It has not some kind of deflected, diverse thing like this. And it was isolated like this. That's why I'm interpreting it as such. You understand? Remember, this is an interpretation. I was over there and they told me to come here. Now, if I said this to the whole room, somebody may recognize something similar.
May I say something?
Go ahead.
The CT scan image looked like what you just described.
Yes. Okay. So we've clarified that. And this is connected to you how?
Cousin.
Okay. Another cousin. So you know who she's talking about? Because you're cousin, third cousin, yes?
Second. She's my second cousin.
No. What I mean, we're talking about a cousin. You're a cousin. And now we're talking about a third cousin.
About my father.
Okay, well, oh, that makes it simple. You didn't respond. You were talking. So if your dad had a bullet kind of a thing in the head, not shot, but did he have a tumor in the skull?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to your cousin, did your father's diagnosis or did the radiologist say this looks like a bullet or this looks like a rock, this looks like something stuck in the head?
No, he said it looks like a
Then
tumor, a brain tumor.
But when I looked at the image, he showed me the image of his CAT scan. It looked like a bullet in the head.
That's why I'm asking for that term here. But you did not agree with that?
Well, nobody said that actually.
Well, how did you come up with that?
Because I said that to him when he showed me.
Okay, so if you verbalize it and your dad shared the image with your cousin and he said, it looks like a bullet hole in my head here, it's like that. Rather than saying it was deflection all over the brain, everywhere. But it was one massive tumor. And either the oncology team said, we can't cut it out, he'll be a vegetation, it's too much of a surgery, but they feel like they tried. Did they try to go into your dad's head?
They removed it.
Yeah, okay, but there's something about it, but it doesn't feel like it abates. It doesn't abate. I don't feel like he said, okay, I'm all done, and he's drowned off of up in the bay up here. It feels like this continued to metastasize. It may have moved along. He may have felt a sense of safety, and like, that's over with, but it continued. Yes or no?
Yes.
This next part is really sensitive. okay? Either when your dad crossed or in the family, was someone delivering a baby at the same time someone was dying? Just pause for a second. Who had the child at around the exact same time that either your father died or within weeks of it? It's right. Are you sure no one in the family didn't have it? I mean, people have birth of children, I get it. But are you certain about this? Yes, ma'am. If you tell me no, I'll take it, but I would disagree strongly. Leave that out of this for a minute then. Was someone dying at the same time someone was having a baby? Because they tell me about the baby coming into the world the same time someone crossed. It's either right here, or is it right here? Okay, then it's only here. I apologize.
Okay, it's very specific, so we wouldn't have.
Yeah, now I'm very specific when I read. I don't try to talk anyone into anything. The souls would never speak with me again. They would just withdraw to say, this guy's making up stuff. I'm going to come to you in a second, okay? I promise you. But please, there's more to this. In the family, did someone have all of their toes removed, or did someone have a severely damaged foot? Like a club foot, or did someone have a broken ankle that never rotated back? Who had the damage to, yes. Who had the damage to the foot? It's either here or it's here. I'll do it, I'm sure of it. Did someone have cerebral palsy? I worked in CP for a while. Are you sure someone did not have a deformed leg? They don't have to be dead. Is there someone now with a deformity of the foot? Does someone work in special ed? It has that, I'm going to disagree. Okay, I'm just telling you, your dad is telling me, I'm positive. Are you sure someone didn't have crutches as a child? Someone didn't have birth defects in the foot as a young one? Okay, just remember I said it. I'm going to disagree. Okay, please listen. Women have babies, right? I have 4 children of my own, right? My daughter has 3 grandkids. I get it. There's a small intersection where a baby is coming into the world, or someone is having a baby, or someone's getting ready to have a baby, and at the same time, another person who's close to the family is dying. Yes? Yes? No, yes. I'm not saying to the same day. I'm not talking about someone that died 5 years later. With respect, was someone ill, struggling with life, while another family member who you loved, a woman, was carrying a child? Did I say that right? There's only a 9-month interval in there. In that little 9-month period, someone that someone loves very much is coming to bring a baby into the world. And at the same time, someone is getting ready to say goodbye to somebody who is crossing over. As compared to someone was hit by a car out of nowhere and it was a surprise. They're making me feel someone died slowly over this time. Like there was, can you hang around? Can you hang around? Can you hang around? The baby's coming. The baby's coming. Do you understand this? Why do you understand that? I don't know you guys. Why would I tell you this story?
I was pregnant.
Okay.
And 2 months from the day I delivered, her father passed.
Okay.
He was my ex-husband.
Okay, with all respect. This is your dad. What's your name, lady?
Brittany.
Nice to meet you, Miss Brittany. That's my daughter-in-law's name. You met her on the way in. She was sitting with my wife. They just got married in July. But nice to meet you. And who the hell are you?
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. So hear me out. I don't know you. I say this to audience. I don't know anybody in this room. Why would I share this story to a beautiful young lady and her mom? The fact that you and her dad went in different directions, it happens. But if you're telling me you were 2 months in, either you delivered the baby 2 months or you were 2 months pregnant, yes or no?
I was about to deliver.
Okay, and who crossed over right at that same time?
Her father.
Why would I want to share that? You understand? Anthony comes in where?
That's my son's name.
I'm just asking. Okay. If you don't, with respect, if you don't respond to them, they're just going to withdraw. People get a little surprised when this happens with me. I get that. But this is your dad sending a love letter to his child. Is this your brother or is that through another man?
It's my second marriage.
That's correct. Because he's with respect, and it's lovely, nothing wrong with it. Love is love, child is child. This may be your brother, your stepbrother, however you interpret that, right? But if you're telling me with another man, you're married, you have a child named Anthony through him, that man who's coming to this beautiful young woman is aware of the family. And he says, mention Anthony, that's her new stepbrother. And you might say, well, he wouldn't have known about that, he was gone. Yes? Right? So why would I mention it? Because they continue. Otherwise, this whole thing is smoke and mirrors, and we'll all go home. So the soul never separates. That dad is coming for his baby. That's exactly what's happening. Now, a little bit more. And what's your name again? Brittany. You just said it. Forgive me. When I do this, my mind goes empty. I think it's not unfair that people like to draw. People draw. People like to draw. Yes? Not in my family. We have no skills. But we do. I mean, my kids came home in 3rd grade or something with a horse with 11 legs or something, you know. We stuck it on the refrigerator. But other than that, people... Who did the portrait of your father?
My brother's ex-girlfriend.
How do you know? No, listen to me. I'm not asking if you got pictures. I'm sure you got plenty. And I'm not asking if someone did a 3rd grade project for art class. I get it. That's in the folded scrapbook up in the attic. But if you're telling me someone did a portrait of your father's face, when was the last time you saw that?
Within the last couple of days.
Think carefully. Where did you see it?
In my room.
Oh, so it's hanging in your bedroom, yes? No disrespect, but to suggest to you that her father, your ex-husband, is with her, what's the proof other than you want to believe it out with earrings? There's no proof. He says, Robert, tell my daughter, my portrait that was drawn by a family member hangs in the room. This is my proof of being present for her. You understand? And I'm going to disagree with you guys again. Someone keeps telling me about a person with either a fractured leg that didn't heal, someone who had the leg that did not heal.
Her father had broken his leg.
Okay, I'm sorry, you're off the hook. You're off the hook. Well, they're troublemakers. But I'm only off by 2 feet. If I was talking as a generic comment, you might say, well, I know somebody. That's not an answer. Do you understand me? Don't go let people fish. You know what a cold session is? This was exposed since Harry Houdini. He would come out and say, oh, somebody over here has this. It's also called a cold reading. And someone is so anxious to get rid, they just grab onto something and say, I'll take it, that's me. Because you want something. Wrong guy. Wrong guy. This is a father coming to his child. With that, I don't play. She's a beautiful young lady here. Her father's already crossed over. Tell me about his leg.
Sorry.
It's okay. You're allowed to cry.
Still together.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, and he had an accident, he fell, and he broke his leg badly.
Did he never really heal it properly?
No, he was always in pain.
Okay, well, pain comes, but sometimes the bone doesn't repair well and there's a limp, or if you look at the foot, it's offered, it's a little angled, yes? That's what I was seeing. I'm sorry. That's what I was seeing. And I'll say one other thing, and then I really got to go, because I want to get to a lot of people, okay? I can either do a lot of quality in one place, but, we only read a few people. I have to kind of move along. Did someone join the U.S. Navy? Stay with me. Not military, the 6 branches of our great American country, 6, right? Marines, Army, etc. Navy specific. My dad did 4 years in World War II in the Navy. Was someone thrown out of the Navy?
No, my new person I'm with now was in the Navy.
Was he discharged early?
No.
I'm not giving you an... Did he do... I didn't say he got in trouble. Sometimes medical issues come up and they can't serve, or there's some other egregious situation that occurs. I'm asking softly, is the guy you're married to, where her stepbrother comes from, whose name happens to be Anthony, did your husband... I'm not asking if he served our country. I'm very proud of that. But he served Navy.
Right.
How do you know he didn't do the 4 full years?
That's what I've heard from him.
Okay, that's all I need. I'm going to move along. What I'm trying to get these guys to say, and you guys to say, I don't know you. This is a father coming to his child, and with respect, a former spouse coming to the woman he loved. Understand? I got to go there. See ya. No, they're pulling me across. This is odd. It's known as the pull. They'll tell me exactly where to show up. I get it, and I want to repeat this before we get into this even deeper. If I stood up there and said, does anybody get this? I can get hands showing up. This is here. Okay? And you guys came as friends? Yeah. You seem like you're not sure. Check you out a little bit. Don't mind my faces, okay? All right, please listen. Please listen. Sometimes people have projectile vomiting. It just comes out. And sometimes it causes the throat to swell, or sometimes they can't breathe, or they actually, I don't want to be graphic, inhale their own back in, and it chokes to death. I'm being shown that here. You understand that? Okay, now stay with me. Okay. What's your name again? Dominique. Yeah, listen, now you set up. When I do this, I go completely empty inside. I taught to explain. I have no memory, if that makes any sense. I'm over there. They said, not here. They said, come here. So I'm stepping into this row. With respect, if someone has a vomiting process, it could be from, unfortunately, from, I guess, some chemos can do it. There are people that can do it from alcohol intake. People can do it from a drug overdose. People can swallow the wrong food, and it's old, and it's got food poisoning connected to it, and they're throwing up like that. There's a lot of reasons why it might happen. Fortunately, it doesn't happen, I don't think, that often. Did your brother cross over? Yes or no? Okay, just let the audience know, because I'm not sure if you're just agreeing with me. And if you're telling me respectfully, your brother died, if he was found deceased, or if he was vomiting constantly when death was coming and they couldn't stop it, the physicians couldn't stop it, or at home it couldn't be stopped. Go ahead.
Did you say brother?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did say brother.
Yeah, but I said mom.
But your brother crossed, no? Yeah. So if your mother has crossed, but the brother is pushing, the one with the vomiting is who?
My mom aspirated.
Okay, that's all I want. I didn't mean to put my hand up, forgive me. I just try to show off extra information.
I do believe brother, same thing.
Okay, stay with me. Now hang in for a minute. So you're telling me your mother had an aspiration effect, and you think your brother did as well, but you're not sure. That implies that you don't know much about how your brother died. Yes or no? I mean, I come out of that culture, right? I listen very carefully. So if you're telling me you know more of your mother, and she didn't get hit by a car on the Long Island Expressway, but she was in bed or she was in a medical situation, yes, and she kept aspirating, swallowing, can't breathe, right? This could come from ALS, this can come from a combination of neurological impairments where the throat is not working, or she drank, or she ate, because she keeps calling me about her with respect. Either she was alcoholic, or she had issues of ingestion process, and either she suffocated like this, yes or no. This is not pleasant for me to share with a beautiful young lady.
I know. My mom aspirated but lived 2 more days.
Okay, don't give me info. But when she died, you were not there. Who walked out of the room? Don't say no. Take a second. Are you certain? Who's the one that went out and came back? She's making me feel someone that was significant was not there. Who was that?
My brother.
He had already crossed? Okay, that's it. I don't mean, again, forgive me with the hand stuff. But if you're telling me you have a biological brother that was distanced from the family, perhaps there was a separation of emotion, perhaps he lived in another state, perhaps he lived in another town, and there was a falling out, there was some sense of separation for whatever drove that separation, and his own mother is dying, and he's not there. You said a moment, I listened real carefully, you know. You said everyone was there. Was everyone there? Oh. So her own son chose not to be there for his mother's pet, or was unable to get there, whether he was in prison, whether he was in lockup, if he was away, got it. But he wasn't able to be there. He may have approached and said, can I get a release? They said, no, you're staying here. You're going to risk a flight. You're not going anywhere. We'll tell you all about it, like that. But if you, that's it. That's who's here.
It's exact.
Yeah, well, this is what I do.
Yes.
It's not, and I want to restate that comment, it's not what I do. It's what my father asked me to move through me. I'm just, you know the word channel? That word, people use that word channel. A channel has no responsibility for what moves through it, but I have total responsibility what I say to a beautiful person. I have ethical responsibility to be respectful and compassionate, but I make up nothing. How do you play with a mother's soul? You can't do it. Does that make sense? I'm going over here. Excuse me. Thank you. You were late. Everybody stare at her. She was late.
I'm sure that they're...
I'm teasing. I got to kind of angle in this way. That guy's giving me stuff. Friends, family? You seem like you're not sure. What the hell's with you people here? I'm just teasing. I try to make it a little bit light because people get too intense. What the average person does not understand, which is no one's fault, they don't understand that this is a love letter. If it's not about love, I don't want to be up here. You understand? It's an act of mercy. You follow me? Please listen. Did someone have surgery downtown and they bled out from it? Before you, okay, I know you said no pretty quick. Somebody had colon surgery, someone had a removal of tissue. Not in the reproductive organs, I'm talking about below. Did someone have either part of their colon removed, excised out, clip, whoosh? No, don't tell me about the leg. Let's do this again. Did someone bleed out? They couldn't stop the bleeding on the ER table. They couldn't stop the bleeding in the OR table, or there was a continual bleed afterwards. I disagree. It's right here. It's with you. You sure? Yeah. Okay, then I apologize, girls. I'm only off by 8 inches. Well, it comes right specifically to an area. What's your name again? Grace? Okay. I know this is your daughter, your husband, other daughter, right? I'm not asking if someone had surgical bleeding or had a bleed from a car accident or someone cut their wrists in the bathroom to try to take their own life. I get it. People bleed. I get it, right? But it's another thing to bleed out, which means unless someone shot you and left you on the street to die, or someone hurt you in such a terrible way they weren't calling for any assistance, and say, just bleed, man. I don't care if you die or not. Just lay there and bleed, right? That's kind of graphic, but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. Did someone bleed out?
Yes.
May I ask who that is?
My father-in-law.
I'm sorry. So this is your husband, of course. We introduced ourselves before. And with respect, may I have your name, sir?
Russ.
Russell, I think you did say it. Is your wife correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see that happen?
Yes.
Gently. You can bleed out of your nose. You can bleed out of your mouth. But you can also bleed out of your bottom big time. That's why I keep interpreting it. With respect, did your dad have any lower body bleeding?
No.
There was only a saturation from up top down? Did you see him blood?
Yes.
Blood all over his gown, all over his pajamas, all over his medical outfit, rather than just a little bleed, pat, pat, put it away, pat, pat, put it away. Did it soak him?
Yes.
That's why I'm seeing it. I see empty air just like you guys. Why the hell would I walk around here between these rows and stand here? This is your grandpa. This is your grandpa. Because he's not avoiding you two, but he's coming around these two to let him know he's a guardian soul. And he's making me feel the identifier is I am bleeding out and they can't stop it. Right? Now, if he was at home, you walked into a bedroom, he doesn't feel good, I feel nauseous, I don't know what's going on, and kaboom. Yes?
Yes.
And that brought his death to him?
Yes.
It's one thing to say, pay attention. It's one thing to say, well, he had a bleed, We shot him to the emergency room. They cauterized him. They do whatever they do with these anticoagulants. And we got him squared away. He played golf for 10 more years. And then he had a stroke and he died. That's not this guy. He's telling me he's bleeding in front of you. Either he lived with you, you were living with him, you had a bad vibe, you went over to his home, but it feels like he was in-house. Yes or no? And you walked into a bedroom or something similar, and all of a sudden, without being too graphic again, and he died in that process. Yes or no?
Correct.
This is him. Let me help you with something. The last thing, no one in this room, and I mean nobody in this room, remembers how you were born. Right? None of us do. I don't, no one, my wife, my kid, no one knows how we were born. I don't remember our birth, but you will absolutely remember your death. And when you're standing at the casket, or you're in a memorial service, or you're doing Kaddish, prayers for the dead with my beautiful Jewish friends, or whatever it might be, right? They say, what happened to your dad? Oh man, he had a rupture, an artery ruptured. He bled all over the place, all over the bed sheets, all over the bed, all over his bottom. He was soaked in blood. That's my father, yes?
Right.
Because people will ask at the funeral, or people will ask at a memorial, what happened to your dad? What a nice guy. Oh, don't ask me because he bled everywhere. It was a mess. I don't mean to make it like that, but that's what happened. So when he's being laid to earth, or however your journey finished, people ask and they say, this is what happened to my dad. Yeah, that's right, right? It's the last thing your body will remember, and when I share it, it's the first thing people recognize. They will always mention how they died, so these guests say, I know exactly who that is. Now, before I move along, who lost an eye? Did someone go blind in one eye? This comes up from time to time. And no one wasn't blinded in one eye. I'm just asking.
My mother, but she can still see.
She's still with us?
No.
Okay, now come back. Your name?
Donna?
Hi, Don. I understand things. You can have ocular cancer. You can have a stroke. You can hit your eye with a stick. You get a BB in the eye as a child. You get a snowball in the face. Things can happen. Before your mother moved along, was her one eye failing?
Yes.
Why is she making me feel there was a misdiagnosis connected to her? Were they treating her for one thing, and she had to switch doctors, or they didn't understand exactly what was taking her life?
Her eye is more part of her aging. I don't
Okay,
think it was
okay, let's go. Let me help you for a second. My father passed at almost 94. My dad had Alzheimer's. So he didn't know what he was seeing, but he could see. Hey, he could see, but either his brain wouldn't interpret it anymore, right? So there was no eye issues medically like, oh, your eyes got glaucoma or there's macular degeneration, which advances with many people. I get it. But someone is pushing at me to talk about my one eye failing. Did your mother's eye fail? In one eye. It has to be one eye. It can't be like bilateral. It's got to be bingo. Right or wrong? Okay. And you're, without telling me, you know what caused her passing? I'm not so convinced you do.
No.
Okay. So as a daughter, your friends?
Sister.
Oh, it's your sister.
Sister-in-law.
Oh, okay. Well, then you understand kind of what I'm talking about. So if you're suggesting to me as a daughter, or you married to her brother, is that the deal here? Is that what this is? That you don't know how your own mother crossed, or you don't know the medical challenges of your own biological birth mother, which would imply to me separation, a falling out. There was something, or she moved to Florida and you didn't know what was going on, but there was some distance here. What is she? Why do you not know what happened to your mother? Okay, now listen to my question again. And Donna, right? I'm asking you softly. Do you know what took your mother's life? That's all I need. That's my answer. The question is, why would a beautiful daughter not know what happened to her own mother? Why? And how do you know it and she doesn't? Oh, that's right. That's what I'm saying. Oh my God.
She was with her.
I didn't. Okay, what I'm asking, I'll try this one more time. You guys aren't drinking, right? I just got to make sure they're not shit-faced here. All right, listen, sorry about the shit-faced, Tom. We can edit that out. Sorry about that, guys. All right, please listen. If you have two women present, right, is what you're implying, or in and out of a medical unit, yes? Or finding her in bed and you don't know what's going on, and you don't know what's killing her, what's ending her life. My interpretation is that there was a misdiagnosis or someone doesn't know what the hell's going on. If you said, Robert, my mother died in 9/11 in the towers, she was an attorney and she was in that building, you would know exactly what happened to your mother. But she's identifying herself as the woman who was losing sight in the single eye. Yes? This part is also very odd. I think it's not uncommon for certain mediums out there, I guess. They talk about jewelry quite a bit, right? People talk about jewelry. They got this, they have a ring, they have a watch, who has a necklace. I think for the average woman in this room, you probably have something either from your mother or your grandmother or your sister or your daughter. You got something out there, yes? What's with the ring that was found so many years later? A ring. Did someone dig up ring out of the earth? Did someone find a ring that was buried that no one could find forever? Say it to me.
I had a ring that was missing 3 years and I found.
Okay, so you guys are definitely drinking. Listen to me again. I'm not asking if you misplaced the ring yesterday and you found it this morning because you left it in the bathroom rather than putting it back in your dresser drawer, right? So you lost the ring when? You said 3. Okay, a few years ago you lost it for 3 years, yes? And magically it showed up. Yes or no? Why would I say that to you? Because she knows this odd story. It's a very odd sub-story. I get it. Like, what does that mean? It means she's sharing something that I have no way on earth of knowing. And you said, yeah, that happened to me. I lost something for a few years. I go back, it's in my pocket all of a sudden. Now, outsiders might say she put it there, or she hid it, or she guided you to it. You can go with that, I guess, if you want to. That's fine. But it's a fact, isn't it? Yes. And there's a last little bit here that I don't like. Nothing to do with you two. But it's not pleasant. Where does the animal come in? I'm a big animal lover. Huge. Right? I've had many of my boys cross over the years. She's telling me she has a dog or she has a cat, but she has an animal that recently crossed, or there's something about the animal that just joined her. Yes or no? Yes. Please listen. My boy at home is Danny, Irish guy, Danny boy. I've had dogs since I'm 5 years old. I've had at least 15 dogs. Every one of them was a part of my soul. Maybe not 15, maybe more like 12. But we've had a lot of dogs. My brother lives next door to me. He just has 2 dogs. When they cross, it's rip your guts out, right? I laid with my dogs on the blanket. I held them at the vet. I did it all, right? I with respect. But my dog is still here. My last dog died 14 years ago. I'm not saying, did you ever have a dog that crossed? But your mother is coming and she's rocking this cat or dog, not a bird, not a horse. People do have other pets, you know. They do. Yeah. And she's telling me it recently occurred. Yeah. Right? So if you're telling me the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, not that far down the road, that animal, I guess like a child to you in a way, was received by the woman who you both were near. Thank you for listening. I'm right in the front here. People ask me, how do I know where to go? You ever hear that comment? Like, how do you know where to go? No, the word know means I have knowledge of you. Yes? Know is knowledge. Yes? I know nothing of you guys. So I don't know where to go. I'm being pulled to where I have to go. It's like a sense. Does that make sense like that? Does that make any sense? This is whacked, but I have to interpret it. I see some, oh man, listen to me carefully. I know you're friends. I know we met earlier. This is very bizarre. No, it's bizarre. I mentioned over here before about people having surgery across the belly, yes? Remember I mentioned that? And I kept asking if someone had bleeding out of the bottom. Remember I asked that? And they said, no, no one like that. And then I said, no, this is blushing of blood, 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 blood. And then the gentleman and his wife and the children said, well, that's my dad. And he bled everywhere. It was like a pool of blood all over him. Yes? Okay? So this is not that, but it's odd. Did somebody have a resection, again, of the colon or the lower bowel? Did someone have colon cancer? Before you say, no, this is right, ladies. Are you sure? You're telling me no. I'm not asking if someone had breast cancer. I had cancer. I had cancer. There's no surgery downtown. Okay, well, let's come back. I'm not a doctor. I understand the resistance. I get it. But they're pointing down low. So if it was either colon, lower bowel, there was something about the tying off of the surgery, though. They were put on delay. You know if the surgery was incomplete or it didn't do what it was supposed to do? You would know this. I disagree. It's right here. Okay, no, listen to me. I don't want to compare notes. I've had 27 surgeries. 27. I've had 14 in the last 3 years. I know surgeries, but nothing to do with downtown. But if you're telling me someone had surgery below, I'm not talking about having a shoulder repaired or a knee replacement, right? I've had 4 knee replacements. 4. There's a long reason why. 4. I was in martial arts for 50 years. When you do that for 50 years, you're going to get jammed up. But that being said, there's something about the surgeries had to be repeating. And either they went in, and they said, well, you'll have to come back. We went in, you'll have to come back. They went in, you'll have to come back. It has that tenor to it. Did something like that occur?
I don't know whether to answer you or not.
Well, no. Well, you haven't given me any information, but let's get it straight. Now, before you answer me, I went in for knee replacement. It was fixed. I went back 12 years later. They had to do a revision. I'm not talking every other week I'm back in surgery. That's this feeling. Did somebody have a continuing?
Yes.
That's what I'm asking. 8-9 months ago, they just put my whole shoulder out. I just had a reverse shoulder replacement. They took out my whole shoulder, flipped it around and put it back. 3 doctors in the whole state could do it. I had to go into Lenox Hill for a very specialized surgery. And not just a simple replacement, a reverse shoulder. Very delicate stuff, right? I had to go all the way into the city, up at Lenox Hill, right? So I get it. I went back for a follow-up, I went back for a second follow-up, and that was it. I'm now in physical therapy, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm very happy with the results. But if someone has had a chronic, constant, whether it be fistulas, whether it be Crohn's, whether it be inflammations, where they were constantly taking stuff out, playing around surgically, not with just medical stuff, who had that?
My husband.
Okay, with respect. So if your husband wasn't killed in 9/11, if he wasn't a police officer shot in the head in this city, which one of my friends was, right? If he doesn't have that stuff, then it wouldn't apply. But if you're telling me with all respect to your spouse that he had constant issues, now if you're saying that it was a neck thing in his carotid artery, he's going low. Did he have belly issues down low?
Kidney replacement.
Okay, don't give me what it was, just say yes. But if he had either kidney failure, or if he was on dialysis, or if he couldn't kick back in, or if he was on a registration list for a kidney replacement and it didn't come in time, I'm just curious. Did he cross over as a result of the kidney? He didn't develop sepsis.
later and one thing caused something else.
So this is a guy that continually had to have surgeries. So he had organ failure, shifting of organs, renal shutdown. That's him. That's him. Now I'm going to say something. This is not pleasant here. I hope I'm wrong about this. Did one of you guys have someone put a gun at you? Oh. Who threatened to shoot somebody? It's right. Are you sure? I'm sorry? I believe you. If you tell me no, I'll accept it. But are you certain that someone didn't threaten somebody in the family? Someone didn't aim a weapon at somebody? Didn't put hands around someone's throat? They're making me feel someone really, really got aggressive. Who was Jerry, by the way? Or Jean? Who's Jean?
My father.
Oh, when you say no, we're speaking for the group. I'm just asking. Dad is crossed over?
Yes.
Okay. Jean, G-E-N-E, I take it as a female's J-E-A-N. It's not that kind of a common name, you know. Eugene or Jean is not that common, right? John is common. Joe is common. I would agree with that. I say everybody's got a Joe. Yeah, they probably do. But not everybody's got a Jean, right? Go through Jean for a minute. Are you sure in your father's family someone didn't carry weapons? Who's the cop?
Jean.
Oh, before there was a no. You guys have to be careful when you say no to these souls. I'll be moving over here in 2 minutes. Do you understand me? Right? Let me help you. When the window opens, any souls can enter. Right? They don't just stay on the one, because they might say, they could, I may not have a chance like this again. This is my daughter. My name is Jean. I was a cop. Yes or no? There's a man coming to his daughter. With that being said, right, if he worked in the city, he may have worked in Suffolk, he may have been upstate, he may have been a trooper, whatever. I'm sorry? I know it happened. But with respect, when people go mute, or they say no right away, they haven't thought it through. This is why wrong people go to jail. They just do. That's why they need multiple witnesses. This is why they need a jury of 12 to make a decision. Right? Because people have a skewed vision of what they want to hear. I only want to hear this. You see, that's where the mistake is. I can do that easily. I can give you guys a sales pitch like that. But I don't do that. And I'm going to say something else. It's between you two guys. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes people are placed in a facility against their will. Yes? Prison is one of them, right? I think we had somebody over here before. Who had the guy in prison? That was with you, right? Your brother, right? That's it. You can go into a prison system. You can be in a psych unit. All of a sudden, onset schizophrenia comes in. It exacerbates. You don't take your meds. The next thing you know, you're on a roof with your underwear on, and they have to put you someplace to protect you, right? You can go into a medical unit for a hospice. You can go into a hospital. You can go into a Bristol for a retirement community, or you can be put in a nursing home or an old age home against your will. Who was placed in a facility and they said, I don't want to go there, and they were put there anyway? It's right. Okay, hospice, you can have hospice at home, or you can have hospice in a hospital facility, or a hospice center, right? Specifically for the dying. Now, if someone says, listen, this is the key. Was someone specifically told you're going to leave home, or you're leaving the hospital, and we're putting you someplace else? And they say back, I don't want to go there. Who was this? Oh. So your own dad, cop guy, did he have a gun pointed at him? Did he shoot somebody else?
He was pointing it at somebody else.
That's all I want. My father was a cop for 20 years. Never shot anybody, never got shot. Has he drawn his weapon in line of duty? I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. But he never came home and said, Rob, they almost blew my brains out. They just missed my head by a gun. No, he almost got thrown off a roof one time. That I remember as a child. But that being set to the side, you got to understand my culture. My whole family's everyone's cops. I mean, everybody. So, well, they are, and I'm very, very proud of that. But the fact remains is that because when you need them, they show up. No one else is going to show up for you. Trust me when I tell you that. But that's set to the side, right? So if you're telling me your dad's name is Gene, crossed over, yes, had someone either shoot at him or he shot at somebody or someone aimed to kill him and he got away with it or just didn't get shot, that's the same guy. With respect, did you place your father in a facility or did your mother and your sisters or your brother put that man in a facility and he said, I don't want to go there. What are you doing to me?
We spoke about it and he said he didn't want to be there, so we didn't.
That's all I asked, right? You could have, if you said to me, Robert, my father drowned in Jones Beach. What are you talking about? Right? Or my father had throat cancer and he died at Sloan Kettering. That's not the same guy, right or wrong. It's emotional, but it doesn't make it accurate, right? So were you there? Did you hear him make this comment?
Yes.
As a witness to your father saying, I don't want to go.
Yes.
But he was made to go anyway? Was he made to go anyway? Or did he resist going? And you decided to let him stay home? Or that's him. Okay, I got it. Because he makes me feel there was a conversation. It almost felt, and you never took him for like a visit. He didn't go for like a short stay. He just, that was it, put my foot down, and that was the end of it. And who's Kiki? Or Cheeky? Or Kick? It's got an odd, Katie, it's got that odd K sound. Okay, I believe you. There's no Kevin, there's no Ken. Okay, Kiki, Kenny, Kevin. Who's that?
My brother.
Okay, he's calling out to his son. I don't mean to put my hand up. You guys know, any of you know my friend John Edward? Yes. No, of John? Yes. I know John 25 years. I saw him on an interview on TV one time. And they said, John, what does it sound like when you hear them? Which is called a clairaudient reaction. John said, it sounds like they're yelling through 8 feet of water. So I'm not talking about Barbara. I'm not talking about Zachary. Your father's calling out Kevy, Kenny, Kevy, Kiki. It's got that K-V-E-V sound, yes? That's his son. So was your brother involved in the decision with your father?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just asking. You could have said he was in Hawaii military duty. We couldn't get a hold of him. We had to make a decision without him. Daddy was in trouble and that was it. Yes? And by the way, where does the person come in that either caught their hand in a machine saw or had part of their finger removed in a machine shop? Who had the crippled hand? Or lost part of their finger?
My brother.
I'm just asking. Who's this?
My brother.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Crossed over?
No.
Still present? I'm just asking.
Yes.
Someone is acknowledging someone who was working with a lathe or someone was working with a saw, like a butcher shop, so zip, and it cut part of their finger off. But not reattached.
Tried to.
Not reattached.
Yes, it was.
So it was reattached. So it functions normally?
No.
Okay, then I gotta have it.
Fixed finger.
Okay, stay with me, stay with me. If you're telling me, and I don't mean to jump off, but I have to come, as it comes, I have to give it. So if you're telling me right here, not the whole room, right here, that someone is describing someone, so if you're telling me, and your name again?
Donna.
What's your name?
Linda.
Linda. Who the hell's the other Donna? I got the other Donna. Donna, I got her. There's so many Donnas and Lindas in this room.
It's over there.
If you're telling me you have a biological brother that's around, and he was working on some kind of a machine, I'm sorry, what is it?
Table saw.
Okay, a table saw. If you said, no, he caught it in the car door, maybe. Oh, no, he broke it playing football. Never repaired, he always had a bad hand. But if you're telling me they did this, and they put it on ice, and they rushed him to an emergency room, and a hand surgeon comes in and salvages your brother's fingers, thinking that it would be fine. You know if it was his pinky? And you know if it's frozen? Why would I know that? You guys understand what you're witnessing here? I'm just interpreting who's right here. This part is edgy. Do you know what the word estrangement means? Okay. That means you're a stranger to us now. Who has the estrangement in the family?
My father with his family.
Okay, let's just go here with Dad's crossed over. Okay, then listen to me. I shared in the intro, I kept it very short. We come from a very strong, close Irish family. I can't explain it, but if someone dies in Florida, we're going to Florida. If someone's Florida, they're coming. We're like this. We just show up for those kind of things, right? Birthdays, and maybe we can, maybe we can't, but for baptisms or communions, or if we're invited, we're going, right? It's just the way we are. There's a soul coming to me. The word estrangement means you're a stranger to us. That's what it means. It's compressed into the single word estrangement. But it literally means you're a stranger to me now. You're estranged. I don't want to know you. I don't want to hear with you. I don't want to FaceTime you. Don't write me. Don't know me. You're gone. Like you don't exist. That's estrangement. Did that happen with your father? Did he have a falling out with his brothers and sisters? Did he have a falling out with his family? Falling out doesn't mean they moved to Connecticut and he talks to them once a week. Falling out means they're done with him, or he's done with them. Yes or no? So they broke his heart in some way. Yes? That's this man. And not only is he coming to his beautiful daughter, he wants me to acknowledge one of his children, his son. Now, to say that he's coming to one of his sons or son, what's the proof? No proof. But he says, mention to my daughter about my son who lost his pinky in a machine saw accident, and it was reattached, and now it's frozen like a board. Why would I come over here and talk about this? Because that's how they communicate. If you want the flower dance, I can do that. Oh, he's happy in heaven, and he's telling me he looks in on you, and he's sending red roses. You want all that? I can do that. That's easy to add sprinkles on top of it. But the core is this young lady or this young woman or that young woman say, how the hell does this guy know this? There's no reason on earth I should know any of this, but I do. Right? And it's not a matter of knowledge. It's a matter of what we call presence. They are right here, right now, but you don't know it. Yes? I'm asking you politely to please look. Does that make sense? There's one last piece. This better be wrong. I hope this is, no, this, I don't even want to do this piece. I hope this is really wrong. I have to do it because I'm obligated to do it, but I don't really want to do this one. Sometimes after a baby is born, there are some odd cases with postpartum depression or things that could take place where mother doesn't want her child. Who gave away their child? Who raised someone else's child? That's it. Okay. No disrespect. What's your name? Okay. If you have adoptive parents that you love very much, you seem like a balanced, lovely woman, right? I don't feel, well, I mean, I get adopted. Hey, you know this cop out here and his crazy girlfriend put those 2 children in the garage to freeze to death, right? And they were his own children. People do that with adopted children too because the tracking is not as intense, right? Okay. So with respect, either at birth your mother had to give you up, or she was a young teenager and she didn't know any better, or something occurred, whatever may have occurred, but beautiful people came into your life and have raised you. And they are your parents. Yes or no? Okay. So gently, and there's no judgment here, but if you're telling me your birth parents, either you never heard of them again, you don't know anything about them, right? I've met many, many adopted people, and they kind of want to find out who they were, where they came from, how they were raised, their ethnic backgrounds. They just are curious. Other people say, it doesn't matter. I have my parents. I'm sure they were nice, but I don't need to know. That may be you. I don't know. I don't know. But the point is, I have souls coming to me telling me that someone raised someone else's child. That's you. Right? Yeah. I got to be a little careful here. Are you the only adopted child, or were there more? That's right. Do you speak with them? You're close to them? Was there a sibling rivalry, like who came first, who was the... There's something about the friction point. I'm not saying with your brother or your sister, but it's in that process. I'm going to push it. And you're not adopting children yourself, or you don't raise someone else's children. You're not telling me something. I'm not saying your fault. No, I'm not blaming you. I have to reinterpret this. Because your parents crossed over? One. Was it your dad? Yeah. Because someone keeps coming to me about the other, but there's only two of you. And it wasn't a conversation about a third, or there wasn't a conversation about bringing in another one. You sure about this? I believe, of course, I'll defer to you. But that man is making me feel that he and his wife, I'm taking to be your mother, that you're with now. You see her? You talk to, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You could say she's in Florida, she moved to Texas. You know, I see her once a year, right? When you have to interpret empty air, I'm at the mercy of the guest. Does that make any sense? The person with the throat issue is whom? Who had the major swelling in the throat? In the family, not your dad. Did someone have either throat cancer or lost their ability to speak? Yes, ma'am. Who had the airway down the throat? Who couldn't talk? Who had either a trach hole put in? Something in the volume of the throat. Are you sure? Oh my God. Are you? I don't know you. Did she have a problem with her? I'm sorry? No, not a goiter. That's a thyroid issue. Are you sure no one didn't have throat cancer or someone didn't get an inflammation of the artery? Okay, I believe you. Is there a Stephanie or a Stephen? Who's that? Say it again. Steffendal. That's Stephanie, something. Yes? So you're telling me that's your mother's name before she married your father? Do you know your mother's parents and grandparents? Do you know much about them? I'm telling you through the Steffi sound, there's something about the one of the throat. You're sure about this?
It's my grandmother.
Okay, say it, I can't hear you. Say it again.
Sorry, that's my grandmother, but that's the one.
What's her last name? Because I'm hearing Steffi. Steffendal, Steffi, it's close enough for me. It's not Alexander. It's Steffendal, right? Do you know much about her? Did she have significant throat issues? I know you mentioned a goiter, but you're not sure. Do you know how she died? Without telling me? And had nothing to do with the throat, and she wasn't on an airway as far as you know. No oxygen, nothing like that. Okay, so she wasn't found at the bottom of a basement stairs, or she didn't slip off a roof. Well, there are other ways to cross over, right? I found my father dead. My father had Alzheimer's. He sat in a chair, he never woke up. I walked next door to say hello to him, and he was dead. I know what it's like to find a dead person, believe me. I'm my own dad, right? We found my brother's child dead in the bathroom. Got it? Okay. So I have this reference here of a man who adopted you, who adopted another sibling, two. You're taking care of your mother. There's this grandmother, and her last name is Stephanie. Okay. All right, thank you for listening. Okay, I have to move over here. All right, let me continue, but I want you to learn something if you're interested, okay? People often ask me, what is the message? Right? What's the message? There's no bigger message, in my opinion, that I am standing with my daughter. I'm a dad. I've come to my child. I was married to this wonderful lady. She's got a stepbrother by the name of Anthony. Yes? This is my dad. We were at home with him. He bled all over the place. This is his son. These are my grandkids. That is my father-in-law. That's very specific, right? If you want me to add on, which I certainly can do, are they happy in heaven? Are they at peace? Do they send red roses? Are they sending signs of butterflies? If you want that, there is 1,000 people out there that will tell you that. I am not one of them. I need cop proof. Not my broken heart wanting to buy into something. Does that make any sense? I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to have you understand me and what happens through me to help people that are struggling with loss. And what they're desperately trying to do is prove to you that they've never left you. Does that make any sense? There's a younger child here. There's a young adult here. Yes? You cry as much as you have to. Don't you worry about me. I'm an edgy guy. Have you got that by now? Because I'm talking about your family. And to turn the death of a child into a show, I will go home. How do you turn the death of a child into a show or an afternoon performance? How? Yes? When you do this work as much as I do, and you see the eyes of a mother that's buried her son or buried her daughter, it'll rip your soul out. You understand? How are you guys connected?
Sisters.
Oh, I'm just asking. All three of you?
Yes.
I'm just asking softly. Remember I said don't write? You're going to write.
She's the writer.
I'm just suggesting. No, I know. Remember I said don't do it?
Don't.
Don't. Yeah. A rough audience. Listen to me with respect. When you write, you only write down what you want. And the focus is pencil, paper, what do you say? Pencil, paper, what do you say? And the souls are doing this. And they're saying, please, Robert, ask him not to be distracted. Just use your phone. You don't miss a beat. Right or wrong?
Yes.
I'm just trying to help you. With respect. And what's your name?
Margie.
Hi, Marge.
Teresa.
Teresa?
Anna.
Nice to meet you all. Either you're there when someone crosses over, or you're not. Yes?
Yes.
Either you're there, or you're not there. Yes? In the family, was there someone on the edge of eternity before they were shifting? Meaning, was someone ill? Was someone sick?
Yes.
Was someone dying?
Yes.
Yes. My mother, with respect, don't give me info. My mother was dying. My mother had an odd form of an infection in her lower colon, right? It was very rare. It was called Fournier's gangrene, very rare. Infectious disease, hadn't even seen it. They came down to see my mother. And my mother was a medical prodigy. Her IQ was 162. She was a medical researcher her whole career. John Hopkins would call my mother. The Mayo Clinic would call my mother. When she heard the diagnosis, she said, I'll be dead in 3 days. She got sick on November 8th. She died on November 11th on Veterans Day. And she was at peace completely. We were there. We played Irish music in her ear. She said, Daddy's coming for me, which my father would, and my brother and my sister. They were all coming for my mom. And she was at ease with it. And we were good with it. So my point I'm making is that it's one thing to be there. It's one thing to be there when death is arriving and the angel of mercy shows up and you're kissing goodbye and you're saying we love you, yes? And you have to kiss them goodbye and say it's okay to let go, yes? With my brother's son, he went into a bathroom and never came out. And the doors got kicked in. There was a final goodbye. and he was on a tile floor in a restroom. Right? This is a little different. Yes. But they're making me feel there was a young adult here. Yes? I'm not a doctor. Either it was a leukemia or there was some illness or some injury that took place, but something happened to them medically. Yes? I don't feel like this is someone hit them with a car and left them to die on the curb. Don't give me any information. Would you know offhand if there was either tumors or there was cancer or brain issues or swelling in the head? Because they keep going, I don't mean to knock myself out here. Keep going, it hurt my head, it hurt my head.
A brain abscess.
That's it.
Very sudden.
I'm sorry.
19.
I know you want to share, I do. And I'll give you all the room you want. Is this your child?
He's my godson.
Okay.
Our other sister.
Okay, so one that's not present, still with us in the world?
She is.
She's here, right?
That's sister.
Okay, well, I'm just asking softly. So if this is your if your nephew, or yes? Okay, this feels male to me. So if your sister this is your nephew. You mentioned godson to me. I did not. You said it to me to keep the record straight. But something happened in his head. I have headaches, Mommy. I can't think. I can't move. I'm losing my balance. My head is on fire. I have a fever. Something occurs like this. Is this him?
Yes.
Why would I want to say this to you? Right? This is going to be a little rough. Okay, I'm going to start to cry. I'm also a father. You can't do this every day and be a statue. Make sense? I would take it, getting a sense of your beautiful family here, that your sister, the mother, was present. Yes? Was she the one that laid down with him? Okay. If you said he was away at college and we got a phone call, it's not him. Right? If you said he was out on the West Coast surfing, surfboard hit him in the head, this is not him. But he's telling me about the pounding in his head, like a swelling. And it keeps, remember before I was talking about the one eye thing over here before, somewhere it was? It's like that.
And he did have.
Yes, like it bulged his eye or swelled his eye out. Does that ring a bell? I don't know you. Why would I say these things? But he's making me feel for sure to please tell your sister, his mother, thank you for letting him go. Because he was trying to fight to stay and he could not stay. So she must have laid in bed with him like a mother would do with a child. My wife, at the age of 60, got in bed with her mother and kissed her a little bit and then went back and sat down in the chair. A man cannot lay in bed with your mother, right? A man cannot lay in bed with his, I guess you can do it, but I don't know any man that gets in bed with his mother, goes under the blankets. Right or wrong, I mean, give me a break. But a daughter could certainly do it with her mother. Yes or no? An adult mother could definitely get in bed with her own mother and hold her all night if she had to. Yes or no? That's what happened here. Did the priest not show up? Or was there no priest? Was it a different guy than you expected? This is important. If you said we have a family friend that's a priest or something from the church, and we had him coming, but he didn't show up, somebody else walked in, what's this priest thing change? Come on, come on.
Well, I met a priest on the elevator and had him go.
That's it. That's all I want. So if it was an unscheduled priest and you happen to bump into a priest, with all respect, it could be a rabbi, it could be a deacon, it could be a minister, it could be a pastor, it could be other people, but they're showing me white Catholic cloth collar. I mean, I come out of the Catholic tradition, so I know what I'm looking at. And if you're telling me your sister, yes, the one that's child was dying,
Yes.
this is the other sister, ran into a priest she never met, and he says, my son is dying. He's in trouble. Could you come with me? And he says, absolutely. And he went and followed her and anointed him and gave oils or whatever he did, or just a passing. I don't know if he had that stuff with him or not. Maybe he was doing a ministry in the hospital. I don't know. Some of them, they wander the hallways, a lot of these guys. But if that occurred, and she brought him unannounced to her son's bedside for a final anointing. Now, was his dad not there? I'm sorry?
His dad was there.
Not when the priest was there.
No, she mentioned what they were.
No. Yep, no, no. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a pest, but if you're telling me a priest visited and your sister was there, like she's tethered to the bed, chained me to the mattress, I'm going nowhere, right or wrong. I mean, this mother is protecting her baby into the final moments, yes? Who is John?
Not John.
Or Joe? Who's got this J.O. son?
Well, his name is Jack.
Jack, that's it. John, Jack. It's not Robert, and it's not Alexander, and it's not Jeffrey. But Jack and John are derivatives of each other, usually. But if your nephew, your godson, excuse me, your nephew, his name was Jack, or Jackie, or Jack. Are you sure there's no other John in the family?
Yeah, there's a John.
And who's Kathy?
Katie.
Katie, who's that?
Katie's mom.
That's his mom.
Whose mom?
Jack's mom.
That's your sister. Okay, then. My wife is Katie. You met her when my wife is Kate. You met her at the front desk. That's my wife. Her name is Kathleen. It's a beautiful name. But her sister was Maggie. Another sister is Joni. Another sister is Rosemary. Right, I get it. My oldest daughter is Jessica. My youngest daughter is Kyla Ryan, the Gaelic. Right? Yeah. So I understand Kathy's out there, but that's his mother's name. And his name is Jack or John. So since with respect, your other sister is not here, you represent her heart and soul. And her son is coming to you three to let Kathy know, or Katie know, that he's healed, and he's here, and he's risen. Isn't this why you've come?
Yes.
By God's grace, we go. I only work for my boss. I have to turn, I'm sorry. This is not easy work. We're not doing a show, are we? This is no show. You're sitting in the sacred, whether you realize it or not because of me, because the love of the people that surround you are rising. Do you understand? And even if I don't get to you, I hope I will do more, of course. But they're trusting you to witness the miracle of contact. So when your prayers, and let me ask you a question, and then we'll continue. I don't want to fall over this chair. Do you ever pray to them?
Yes.
Do you? I'm asking sincerely. You ever say in some way or another, Daddy, I hope you're at peace, or Mommy, I love you, or to this beautiful Jack, we miss you so much, we love you. Yes or no? I think most people do it, yeah? Why do you do it if you don't believe they can answer you? Why bother? If you don't really believe it deeply, it's a sacrilege. Do you understand that? Meaning, you're playing with the sacred. Oh, well, I guess I'll pray. I don't know. I'll just pray. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do anything. Say, okay, I guess you're okay. I don't know. But don't offer your open soul and then make believe they don't come. So what they are doing is they are responding to you, and they're asking me, who's just a guy in a blue shirt here, to walk over and share what happened to them. So you know that their love letters have been received, and then God's son comes to his beautiful family, aunts, father comes to his child, and so on. I'm going back there. Oh man, that was emotional, boy. That was killer. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, I want this to be wrong. I hope it's wrong. With respect, did someone have a cervical injury that broke their neck? Who had the paralyzed? Who was paralyzed? No one? Are you sure? Someone didn't have a tumor or an encephalitis to the base of the head? You're telling me no? I'm going to do this again. This is right. I'm sorry. Did somebody suffer either a meningeal attack in the spinal column or encephalitis to the brain? Who had the swelling in the head? It's right. Okay, let me do it again. Okay, I have to interpret, okay? What's your name? Patty? Nice to meet you, ma'am. You've never seen me before? Good. That makes it better. It makes it more innocent, more pure, right? When I do this work, I much prefer an audience that's not, some people were nice enough to say they've seen me. I'd rather have people who've never seen me, because they don't know what to expect, and they're waiting for hocus pocus psychic crap, and then they run into me, who comes out of a whole different culture. Tom, how much time do we got?
Half an hour.
How much?
Half an hour.
Half hour? All right. Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna do this quick. Okay? And please don't throw anything at me. I don't believe in anything. I do not. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'll do it with an explanation. When many of us were little, 3, 4, 5 years old, most people on some level believed in Santa Claus. Yes or no? Yes. And you were taught to believe that there's a guy flying through the sky with a sled and reindeer. Yes or no? Yes. In psych, this is called the period of magical thinking. Between 2 and 5, 2 and 6, Aladdin's lamp, Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Easter Rabbit, all of it is promoted, all of it is engendered, all of it is taught to children to believe in it, and the big people support it, as we do at Christmas time for my 3-year-old grandson. It's awesome. Around the age of 6 or 7, it changes, and it becomes the period of rational thinking or reasoning starts. And you realize there is no guy flying through the sky with reindeer. Yes or no? We can giggle it away. The question is, what happened to your belief? And your belief was destroyed by the truth. My boss said, only the truth will heal you. Not your bird feathers, not your coins, not your butterflies, not your fantasy that enwraps you like cellophane because you want to hold on to something. You will not heal, because if it was supposed to heal you, you wouldn't be sitting here. Make no mistake. You understand this, okay? So I don't want you to believe me. Don't believe anything I'm saying. But if it's truth, you might say, wait a second, what he just described is true. That's what the souls ask of me, to come to the ones that they love, not to generate a belief. We talked earlier with some of you about the red cardinal. You know the red cardinal? I'm not here to hurt you. If you like the red cardinal up in the tree, that's fine. If it brings you comfort, that's fine. I don't come out of that culture. And the reason why is when I read people in this region, we can mention the red bird. It's highly touted by a lot of very nice people out there, and it makes people feel better. I get it. The question is, what do people in Alaska do? Well, you can laugh. You can laugh for a moment, but let's get serious. You can laugh, but let's get serious. I'm a serious guy when it comes to grief, and when they buried that young man, it doesn't get any more serious. So what do people in the Everglades do? They don't have a red cardinal. What do people in Northern Ireland do when my mother was born? They don't have it. What do people in Alaska do? They don't have it. Well, what happened? If you're going to present this work, it is universal. So a mother that loves her child in Norway is the same love a mother has for her child in southern Mexico. That is psychic. Not a regional belief system that you want to hold on to because you're too scared to look past it. You need courage to go past belief. I'm not talking about believing the Yankees are going to win the World Series or your brother's going to have another baby. That's a goodwill cookie. I get it. right? Does anybody here believe they love their children? Or do you know you love your children? Oh, so you don't need to believe it, do you? You know it in your soul. A beautiful mother knows she loves her babies down to her toes. If someone said, I hope you believe you love your daughter, you say, what are you, crazy? Do you understand my point? So if you sit with someone like me, belief is out the window. The only thing that matters is fact and the rising love that a soul brings. So let me try it again. I'm not asking, we've had different variations in the head today, did we not? This beautiful family had the abscess in the brain just a few minutes ago. I mean, it brought me to tears, for God's sakes, right? So I'm asking again, are you guys sure someone did not have something in the head? Okay. You can have encephalitis. You can have a meningeal infection. You can have a tumor. You can have a bleed. You can have a gunshot. You can fall down a flight of stairs and have a swelling. You can have hydrocephalic issues in a child born with what used to be called water on the brain. I work with those children. I know what they look like. They're beautiful children. But their heads, unfortunately, cranial growth is pretty profound. Yeah? So with your name again, I'm sorry. Patty. Do you have someone close to you that had an inflammation or a tumor in the skull? There are people that have tumors in the skull. I work with these children, and they have what they call a semilunar cut. Or sometimes you'll see it behind the back of their head like this, and they get a crew cut for the summer, and they have a big zip line. Zip. And then in the winter, it fills in with the hair, gets a little longer, right? I work with them. And thank by God's grace, there are great medical people out there that help save these children and have a full life. And then there are people that get a tumor in the head, and it's either in too deep or it's diffused. That's you, speckled. And they go in and say, it's everywhere. We can't really do much here, right? We'll try chemo, this, maybe radiation, I don't know. But this feels to me respectfully that the oncology team may have said, just make them comfortable, make them feel okay. This is not clearing up. Does that ring a bell? How do you know that?
It wasn't a matter of if it was going to come back, it was a matter of when.
But it was definite.
Yeah.
Okay. May I ask who this was to you?
My brother.
With all respect. I lost my brother too. I lost my brother's son. I lost my baby sister. I know, right? But if you're telling me respectfully that your brother developed headaches similar to over here, or eye issues, or balance issues, or ringing in his ears, something brought him from the house to a CAT scan, to a PET scan, to a series of exams, to treatment, and then you get that final conversation going where they say, it's back again. It's back. We can't undo it, right? And then preparation is done, whether it be at home or in a hospice setting, but something is done, yes? He just died at home alone? Is he the one that was found dead?
Yeah.
That's him.
He was found
Unconscious. That's him. Okay, I didn't mean to put my hand up. If you said we were gathering like this beautiful family here, and they were all there, and the father went in and out, and the priest came out of the elevator, that whole conversation, that's not this. Either he was home in his bed, he was laying on the floor, something occurred, yes?
He fell down.
Okay, that's it. And if he was found, boom, and they found him on the great firehouse, guys show up, and the 911 operators come, and they have to bring him up the stairs and all that, and he goes into a hospital or into an ER, never to come out, that's him. Who is JJ?
My husband is Jay.
Okay, they want me to talk about the letter.
Oh, my son is CJ.
That's it.
My son is spitting in the gym.
That's him. So, with respect, I understand in families you can have a John and a Joe. Their nephew is Jack. I understand Jay's a common letter, right? I get it. But if there's like a double dunk-dunk sound, Christopher Joseph, Charles James, whatever that is, that's your son. That's his uncle. That's your brother. So, without overdoing this, who do you think is your son's guardian soul? Your brother. You bet. You bet. And he's coming in as such. Okay? I know it's hard. We don't know each other, but now we're friends, right? Well, this is... Well, I hope so. I hope so. There's more here. This is jumping a little bit. This is a little unusual. A little unusual. I don't know if you women are all together or not. And it may come back to you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. People say, how come he doesn't know? Because I don't know. I don't know what the weather is tomorrow either. When people on the outside suggest they have magic powers, go home. Go home. Go home. No one's got magic powers. No one's got magic powers. Let me ask you a question. Why does black magic, voodoo, only work in Haiti? Well, you can laugh. It works in Haiti because they believe it. That's the only, it doesn't work in Glen Cove. Oh, does it? Of course not. It's only if you're predisposed to believing in it that can affect you. Do you understand this? Right? I hope you see this. I'm trying to crack open the door for you. And before you go home, I'll show you how to connect. If you want me to. I'll show you exactly how to get to your brother. I can, and I will. I promise you. This is a little unusual, but I got to ask. You know, when people get laid to earth, I guess in a lot of families, including my own, people put stuff in caskets, right? People put in, you know, birthday cards from the grandkids, or they put in a picture of their dog, or they do something. They may put stuff in there. Some people put a lottery ticket in, or they may do something like that, I guess, yes? Where does the person come in that had this big doll collection? Who owned all the dolls? Old-fashioned dolls. It's right. Are you sure? No? Maybe. No, not maybe. I have two adult daughters. I have two daughters. Did my daughters have dolls? Of course. Did they have stuffed animals? Of course. Did they have stuff on their bed? For sure. I'm not talking about that. Did someone collect dolls as a collection of dolls? Say it. Yes. Okay. Now stay with me. No. I'm not talking about a few dolls, Barbie dolls, in a cardboard box in the closet. I'm not talking about it. I understand young women may have it like young guys may have their old baseball mitts. I get it. I'm not coming out of that box. Has someone crossed over that either dolls were placed with them, or someone has dolls that belong to them decorating their home? You do.
My grandmother, her great-grandmother.
Okay, stay with me. Now stay with me. I'm not asking as a matter of knowledge. Do you remember if... just give me 1 second, then we can talk. I'm not asking if the average adult woman in this room may have had dolls. I'm not asking at a certain time, when an age of American growth, back in the day before TVs took off and all that, did women have dolls? I get it. But there are people that become doll aficionados. Some dolls are wrapped in plastic. Some of them are put in boxes to protect them. They're turn-of-the-century stuff. They really are classic dolls that you maybe go on the eBay for bucks. That kind of a thing. Who had the big doll collection? Go ahead. Did your grandmother have a major doll collection? Okay, that's your nana. Do you know offhand did you go to the funeral? I'm asking.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm just asking. Well, you could have said I heard about it. I never saw them.
I was very close.
Well, you could have said I never saw the dolls. So if you were to go into her home, did she have them on top of shelves? Did she had collections of dolls everywhere? Almost like a creeping me out Twilight Zone thing with a freaky lady with dolls everywhere. Yes. So this is the freaky doll lady. No disrespect. Why would I make this comment only to you two? Because there's a soul rising here that is telling me you will recognize that she was like this doll aficionado. And what's your name, by the way?
Gwen.
Gwen. And you are? Katie. Hi, Katie. And all the Katies, my wife included. In your home right now, as we talk, do you have any of her dolls?
I have some of her owls.
You have some of her what?
Owls. She also collected owls.
Animals?
Owls.
Oh, owls, like the bird. Okay. But in my mind, it's dolls, statues. I'm not asking if you have her pots and pans, or do you have an old jacket of hers, or something like that. I'm not asking that question. But if you're suggesting to me that you have in your home, as we talk, what happened to her dolls, by the way? Not all of them.
No, I have one.
I know you do. And who's got the wedding doll? The wedding outfit.
Wedding doll?
Yes. Or a baptism doll. It's correct. Who's got the doll with the white dress?
Maybe my mom?
Why would you say maybe?
There's a lot of dolls.
No, I get that. But you said they're all given away. So either they're here or they're not here.
My mom has some in her house, a few.
Is that her mother's dolls or her grandmother's dolls? Okay. So if you're telling me your mom is here, which is what you're saying, Kate, and you visit your mother, yes? In that house, are there dolls from your grandmother? Okay. That's all I need. My parents growing up, no dolls. No dolls. There was no dolls. My Irish grandmother, they were extremely poor. Extremely poor. Washed floors, scrubbed floors, that whole bit. And trust me, a doll would not be involved in the currency. Later on, things got a little better, I guess, and maybe around Christmas time. But my point I'm making is, why would I mention old dolls? I'm not saying if there's a random single doll, but a collection of dolls that were antiquities, basically, that were handed down from generation to generation, and your beautiful mother's home has one. That's your sister, I take it, yes? And your grandmother, this is how it's happening here. Does that make sense? All right, last little bit. They're making me also feel someone had a vein removed from their leg. I'm not asking if someone had circulation issues. Some psychic says, I could tell they had circulation issues. No kidding. When you get up at a certain age, or sometimes they'll say, does someone have breathing issues? It's called the death rattle. Every organism on earth, just about that has a lung system, will have a breath issue. Give me a break. It doesn't make it psychic. But this soul was making me feel she had either had a rupture in her leg, she had a bleed in her leg, there was something about with no disrespect in my hand, down in the leg. And either that took her life or it combined to it like she shot a blood clot. Yes or no? Yes. Don't know you. She's right here. Now either we can dismiss and say, I want somebody else, which is a rejection of her. Don't make this mistake. When you say, well, I'm here for somebody else, one day you're going to call out and they'll say, I don't want you. Make no mistake about this. If you do not offer forgiveness, forgiveness will be denied. Never turn your back on a soul that's rising. Don't do it. Am I a little too serious? No? Or should I treat the death of this young, beautiful soul seriously? Right or wrong? I'm right in here. Let me just get a little water. See, once this happens, everyone wants to get red. Have you noticed that? And the reason why is because you know, not because of me, you know that there's something going on. Yes or no? Yes. You can see it, you can feel it, you can hear it. They are trusting you very much. Don't let your clever thinking shove them away. Right? Don't let that happen to them. Don't let them. All right, this is right up in here. Tom, I'm not trying to push. I'm going to do one more. How much time do I have? I just want to make sure.
1:46. You got 15 minutes.
What did he just say?
You got 15 minutes.
I got 14 minutes. I got 1:40. I feel like I'm a train conductor. 1:46, Rob. Okay, but please listen. There are people, it's right like this. There are people that I mentioned earlier that don't want to go to a nursing home, they don't want to go into a facility. Remember that part? I mentioned that before. But that's repeating itself here a little bit. Can I sit for a minute? My legs are a little tired, if you don't mind. Just let me. Can you all see me okay? Pretty much? Okay. 4 knee replacements catches up, right? It's here. And I shared this before, and it's kind of repeating. You know, if there were 3 heart attacks in a row, there are 3 heart attacks in a row. What am I supposed to do about that? Right? I have to give you what the soul is asking, right? Oh, we already said that one. Right? Okay. Was there someone here that was being pushed into a nursing facility? No. Okay, I believe you. And no one was not being pushed into a retirement facility. Who's the one that's correct? Yes? Who's the one that did not want to be moved from point A to point B, to the point at which they didn't want to go to the emergency room, they didn't, okay. Okay. Your name? Theodora? Theodora. I have to do the ra on the end? I'm teasing. Hear me out. I'm going to make this personal, okay, for myself. I came home from church 6 years ago on Easter Sunday. And I said, gee, my leg hurts. I could barely walk out of church. I had just taken communion. I got home, I'm crawling on the driveway into my house. I pulled down my socks and my right leg turned white. It's called ischemic. I had a blood clot in my leg. And I said to my wife, get me to the hospital. You sure you don't want to wait? I said, my own way of describing things, get me there. I couldn't wait to get to the hospital because this was really serious. And they kind of said, it's a good thing you got here because in a few more hours you could have lost your foot. I had no blood supply at all, 0. It was white, almost turning like glass. I wanted to go to the hospital. I wanted my knees fixed. I did. I never said, oh, I don't want to go. I said, get me there. I don't want to live like this. But if you're telling me that your beautiful mother, you had a conversation with her, and you say, Mom, we got to go. You got to go. You got to go. I'm not going. Theodora, I'm not going. I'm not leaving. Ma, you got to go. 911 is coming. We're going to take you. I'll transport you. You got to go to the ER. You have to go. Yes or no? But to an ER. Yeah. Not just to the local doc in the box. No. Right. Or to her local practitioner who will do a little checkup and see why she has a twitch in her ear or something. This is something significant, right? Because she's making me go in my chest, like she can't, almost like she can't breathe. Like this, right? Which will happen under stress. I get that. But if it's primarily chest-based, lung, heart-based, like this, and something is occurring, and you personally either were living with her, or you were visiting with her, I'm just asking, and you're taking good care of her as 2 devoted daughters, but the topic is, don't take me, I don't want to go. That's the key. But she's now is making me feel thank you for doing it. They tried to save my life. Yes? But she kept doing this, like there was a dizziness to her or swelling in her head. There was more to it than just breathing. Yes or no? Is she the same one that went in and never came out? Yes. Respectfully, you could have said, no. She went in. She had a reaction to a peanut. She had a little bit of an anaphylactic allergic response. We got her settled. They gave us some Benadryl or whatever they do. And she's home. That wasn't it. Right? She's going and saying, I don't know what's causing this. I don't know what's going on. I'm too scared. I don't want to go. If I'm going to die, let me die here. Something along these lines. But you take her to save her life. Get her admitted. No, actually, she doesn't get admitted. What, did she die in the ER? No. She got admitted? Say it again? So she got a medical unit.
It was during COVID.
Oh.
It was like crazy.
The part I missed. Why is she making me feel there was like a change in rooms, or there was 2 different places?
They did change her room.
Yeah, that's it.
From ER to a regular room.
That's it.
Not regular, she was COVID.
In a medical unit with a COVID thing. But this is her, which suggests to me that either you couldn't be there when she crossed,
I wasn't.
right? But would you break in?
I
Oh, okay. So that's it. Because she said she couldn't even say goodbye to her. Yes? That's her.
My daughter handled everything. She did.
Oh, God for you. Who's Anna? We all have friends, Anna. No, don't say no. Is there an Andrew, an Aaron, an
There is Andreas.
Andreas? Oh, that's very good. I feel like having Greek food. Andreas is whom?
We have a brother-in-law and we have a great-nephew.
Andreas. Do you recognize that name? Because you said no a moment ago. That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking. Last little bit. Did someone shatter their right arm?
No.
Who with the arm like this?
Myself, I have a thing
In church.
in church.
Oh, you're like me. Okay, hang on for a second. I'm not saying did you sprain your shoulder. Did they have to do surgery?
6 hour surgery.
Oh, that's you. That's it then. You have a nice jacket. It hides it pretty good, but that's for a coat there.
40 years old.
God bless you. Did you guys enjoy this afternoon? Yes. Yeah? Can you give me about 8 more minutes? Okay. I'm sorry I couldn't get to every single person in the building, but we did a lot of readings, yes? We did a lot.
Yes, we did.
We did. I just would like to help you understand how to get to them.